China's President Xi Jinping has opened the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation summit in the city of Tianjin. The summit is being attended by more than 20 world leaders, including Russia's Vladimir Putin and India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Xi delivered a keynote speech and presented a long-term economic and security strategy for the region, pledging to bolster cooperation with countries in attendance. Let's cross now to our East Asia correspondent, Rick Glauert in Taipei. Good to see you, Rick. Now, President Xi has just delivered that keynote speech. What are some of the main takeaways?
Well, Xi has really been talking up the SCO's place in the world. He's been saying it can be a force for fairness, for justice. And he says that's coming at a time where the world is in turmoil. He's also said this morning that his bloc opposes, as you said, the external interference, but also that he wants to avoid Cold War mentality, hegemonism and bullying practices. Over these last 2 days, he's also been talking up the size of his bloc, saying that together the members cover more than 40% of the population of the world. You know, this has been called the axis of upheaval. So Xi, with these remarks, he's showing that there's a new bloc, new leadership and an alternative to the West.
And what is some of the long-term strategy for the SCO broadly and for China's place in the world and in the region?
Well, more than anything for Xi, this is all about the optics, showing that he can gather the world's leaders, and he's already had great success with that. We've seen him shaking hands with Putin and with Modi. We saw the three of them huddling together as they went into that opening ceremony. So he's positioning himself as the great convener, able to gather the world's leaders at a time when the international order appears to be in flux. So Xi sees himself as the head of the global South, you know, a new bloc, an alternative to the Western leadership at a time when US leadership is really faltering.
I mean, you mentioned optics there. Now, Xi is positioning the SCO as a security guarantor of sorts, although it is not a military alliance. And in what way is that a threat to the US central world order? Is this all symbolic?
Well, this is a really broad umbrella of countries. So you've got members that have big differences like India and Pakistan. These last 2 days in Tianjin, Turkey, a NATO member, is here, whilst also Putin's Russia. We're also not really expecting very much to come out of this in terms of concrete agreements such as trade or signing on security deals. It's much more about what it looks like, optics, showing that there is solidarity here from the global South and that Xi can welcome and convene people, including leaders that might feel that they have been shunned, scorned or put out by the US.
Speaking of being shunned and scorned by the US, do you think the ties between these countries have deepened because of Donald Trump and his trade policies?
Well, the big topic that we've seen is obviously the restoration, the warming of ties between China and India over these last couple of days. And if you take the fact that Washington imposed 50% tariffs on Indian goods over its Russian oil purchases, that was a big blow to India and an immediate souring of ties with the US. So things like this are giving Beijing the opening to present itself as a new partner, a bigger partner, as places like India look to hedge their bets economically. You know, it was a very striking image to see Xi there welcoming Putin and Modi together. Many would say that Xi is seizing on this opportunity to show that Trump's tariff diplomacy can backfire, that China is happy to welcome all partners, even if they're being shunned elsewhere. And obviously a country like India was often seen as a counterweight to Beijing, but now it seems that the recent policies from the US have pushed these two countries closer together.
Now, this is the second and final day, official day of the summit, but some of the leaders are staying behind for the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. Just a quick word on what we can expect in the coming days.
Yeah, this is really a marathon of diplomacy for Xi. He's already had many bilaterals with world leaders. He met the UN Secretary General as well yesterday. He's expected to have a one-on-one with Putin on Tuesday. That will obviously be closely watched for any energy deals or updates on Putin's war on Ukraine. Putin will be staying for that big military parade in the centre of Beijing on Wednesday to mark the end of World War II. And he'll also be joined by Kim Jong-un of North Korea. This, of course, is a big occasion, the first time that Kim Jong-un has attended an international event like this, and a big stamp of legitimacy for the North Korean leader.
Rick Glauert, thank you so much for your reporting. That's correspondent Rick Glauert in Taipei.